This is the example video for factoring out the GCF. Okay, so very similar to level 1 of the standard, we're going to break down each individual term. So taking a look at 90p to the fourth plus 80p minus 100, I know that all three terms are divisible by 10. So I'll rewrite my first term as 9 times 10 times. Now I'll move on to my variables. I've got p to the fourth, p, and nothing there. So I know p will not be a part of my greatest common factor, so I can just leave it as p to the fourth. Plus 8 times 10 times p minus 10 times 10. So if I underline, I'll keep this color actually, all terms that are common, I'm just left with 10. So I know my GCF is going to be 10. So that means what I'll have to do is write what I'm left with once I take out my GCF or factor out my GCF. So I have my 10 here. So if I go back up here, I know once I take out my 10, I'm left with a 9 and I'm left with a p to the fourth. Plus, for this term, I'm left with an 8, and I'm left with a p. Minus, over here, I'm left with just a 10. So this is my final factored form. Okay, so all we're doing is we're finding the GCF. Once we find that GCF, we're going to divide all of our terms by that GCF and see what we're left with. Okay, so our next one, we've got 24u to the fourth plus 4u to the eighth plus 36u to the sixth plus 4u to the fourth v to the fourth. So if we break it down, again, I'll do it the long way. I know 24, 4, 36, and 4 are all divisible by 4. So 4 times 6. If I take a look at my u's, I've got u to the fourth, u to the eighth, u to the sixth, and u to the fourth. So I know all 4 of these terms have at least 4 u's. So I'll break it down in terms of u to the fourth. My next term is 4 times, again, u to the fourth, times u to the fourth, plus 9 times 4 times u to the fourth times u squared plus 4 times u to the fourth. And then I've got this v to the fourth. So I'll underline all my common terms. I've got a 4 in all 4 of my terms. And I also have a u to the fourth. So I know my greatest common factor will be 4u to the fourth. And now I'll circle everything else that I'm left with. So for my first term, I have a 6 plus u to the fourth plus 9u squared plus just v to the fourth. So now I have factored out the greatest common factor, breaking this polynomial down into more manageable parts. Okay, so moving on to the next one. So I'll do it my shorthand way now, okay, without writing it out like this. But again, I do strongly encourage you to write it out like this, at least at the beginning, so you can understand the process and visually see what you can take out as your greatest common factor, and then circle whatever you're left with. So I know negative 35, 63, and 7 are all divisible by 7. So I know as part of my greatest common factor, I'll have 7. I notice I have a u here, a u there, and a u for my third term. So they all have a u, just one. And now I'll go to my v's. I've got 9 v's in my first term, I've got 2 in my second term, and only 1 in my third term. So I know all of them have just one v, or at least one v. So I know my greatest common factor is 7uv. I can take that 7uv, or I can take all my terms and divide them by 7uv to find out what I'll be left with. So negative 35 divided by 7 is negative 5. U divided by u, they cancel, and v9 divided by v is v to the 8th. Plus 63 divided by 7 is 9. U's cancel, and v squared divided by v is just v. And then I have 7uv divided by 7uv. Be careful here, okay? A lot of students, or a lot of people, feel tempted to not put anything, close the parentheses, and circle the answer. Remember, anything divided by itself is 1. So we have 7uv divided by 7uv, which leaves us with plus 1. Okay, final answer. So now on to our last one. Take a look at my numbers first. So I've got negative 30, 45, 10, and 20. I know all 4 of those are divisible by 5. That is their greatest common factor. So I'll pull out a 5. Now we'll move on to my A's. I've got 1A, 3 A's, 2 A's, and 1A. So I know all 4 terms have at least 1A. So that'll be part of my GCF. On to the B's. I've got 6 here, 6, 5, and 4. So I know all 4 terms have at least 4 B's. And I have 1C, 1C, 2 C's, 4 C's. So I know all 4 terms have at least 1 C. So I know my greatest common factor is 5a b to the 4th c. So I can divide all my terms by my greatest common factor. And of course, we learned how to do this in A5 exponents back at the beginning of the year. If you need a refresher over that, please go back to the video. Okay, so negative 30 divided by 5 is negative 6. A's cancel. B to the 6th divided by b to the 4th is b squared. And c divided by c, they will cancel. On to my next term, 45 divided by 5 is 9. A cubed divided by a is a squared. b to the 6th divided by b to the 4th is b squared. And c divided by c cancels. 10 divided by 5 is 2. A squared divided by a is a. B to the 5th divided by b to the 4th is b. And c squared divided by c is c. Of course, our last term, 20 divided by 5 is 4. A divided by a cancels. B to the 4th divided by b to the 4th, they cancel. And c to the 4th divided by c is c cubed. So final answer,